My name is Wade Branch, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Chronis Company's actions through human resources and their public relations efforts, especially through the owner, Ted Chronis, and we'll be evaluating the things that were done, given in the document provided, and some suggestions on how to go forward from here. So first, for an overview of the problems that we were exposed to in this first document given. The problem started with the interview questions that were given. These interview questions were full of some discrimination based on religion and then based on age. Now, these two categories of discrimination are prohibited and enforced by both California and federal laws. So these will need to be addressed. Next, the company practices, such as prayer on the job that was instituted by the company, and the random drug testing policy that this company is pushing will need to be addressed. And finally, the overall oppressive culture that is created at this company through the process of hiring and handling employees. So I think it's helpful to go through these interview questions one by one to get to the root of the issues under consideration. So the first question is, we are a family business and value the ideals of family. Do you have a family? Now this question doesn't seem necessarily wrong on its face, but I think as we look into some of the religious beliefs of this company, it starts to mesh between the Christian worldview and religion, views of Ted Chronis, and so they need to be very careful as they edge on these boundaries of familial questions and qualities an employee can't control as it relates to their fitness for a position at the company. So we'll further expound on this as we go into the second question. It says, our founder, Ted Chronis, is a very religious man who has strong Christian ideals. He prays before every big decision and takes inspiration from his religious views. He is a moral man. Do you have any religious beliefs that would conflict with our founder's religious beliefs? Now this question is in strong danger of discriminating on an employee based on religious views. And we will be getting into the legal details of this kind of discrimination in a little bit. But such a high-profile company as Chronis Company, the leading oil producer in the world, needs to be very aware of these different public relations moves they are making by doing things like this and by saying the things that they say, because they, as an international company, will face people who have different beliefs than them. So not only will it be an issue for their relationships and their business, but it will end up affecting their bottom line eventually, so they need to take note of these issues. But so the second question starts to really get into the issues of religious discrimination at hand. The third question under consideration is, what languages do you speak? Now, there are no apparent issues with this question. Fourth, what do you know about Chronis Corporation? Once again, a fine question to ask in an interview. Next, what is the dumbest marketing decision you have ever made? Now, this question is not directly violating any laws, but the question and the way it's presented starts to put the interviewee on the defensive, and it makes them take a back step, and so it might not be the best for developing healthy company relation. The next question says, we want someone who will last many years at this company. Is there anything that would prevent you from staying here for, say, 30 years? Now, this question gets into the second big issue of discrimination in these interview questions, and that is discriminating based on age. Now, once again, we will be getting into the law a little bit about this, but discriminating based on age is prohibited by law, and when he asks about availability to work for 30 or more years, that rules out many people that are even around 40 years old or above. So this question needs to be reevaluated. The next question says, we at Chronis Corporation feel we are family. Do you have a family, and how has this changed your ways of making decisions? Now, once again, this question might not be very aggressive, but it does start to get into personal beliefs, and so as it ties in with other Christian comments that are made, this can be used against Chronis Corporation in the event that there may be a lawsuit based on discrimination of religion. So this needs to be carefully considered. And the final question says, have you ever tried our oils before? If so, how did they make you feel? So this question, no problems with it. So on the issues of religion in the workplace, the U.S. Equal Opportunity Employment Commission states that it shall be an unlawful employment practice for an employer to fail or refuse to hire or to discharge any individual or otherwise to discriminate against any individual with respect to his compensation, terms, conditions, or privileges of employment because of such individual's race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. So clearly, this is a very sensitive area and is an area that is governed by law. Furthermore, the California Fair Employment and Housing Act prohibits employers from discriminating against or harassing an applicant or employee because of the individual's actual or perceived religious creed. Now, this is compounded from the interview questions into the interview process, where the interviewee is required to attend a tour of the facilities in which a prayer is led at the beginning of the tour. Now, involving religious practices and imposing them on employees begins to get into the area of bringing religion into the workplace that is very dangerous and can definitely be brought into a lawsuit if there are issues had with an employee. Next, the issues of age in the workplace that we discussed. The Age Discrimination and Employment Act states that the law prohibits discrimination in any aspect of employment, including hiring, firing, pay, job assignments, promotion, layoff, training, benefits, and any other term or condition of employment. So this is a very far-reaching policy on discriminating based on age in the workplace. Next, I want to get into the practices they implemented with regard to drug testing. Now, it's stated that the drug test will be conducted randomly on a monthly basis. Now, this is not a practice that is supported or approved by the government. There are laws covering these issues, and especially the California state law protects employees from such random drug testing. For example, Barbara Luck and James Seymour, after being terminated for refusing these random drug tests, were supported by the U.S. appellate courts, and it was made clear that the employee will be favored in these decisions and their rights will be upheld. So random drug testing is clearly not an issue that will be tolerated in the United States, and especially California. So this company needs to reevaluate the drug testing practices and implement them more based on a safety protocol, because oftentimes these safety protocol based drug policies can random drug test in certain situations, but if you evaluate your company's drug policy based on safety precautions and not personal beliefs like Chronis Company does, these safety precautions can justify one's drug policy, drug testing policies much more easily. But the random drug testing policy will need to be reevaluated, especially. So for some recommendations for this company, it starts by creating a more open company culture. And there are some statements made in public relations where Ted Chronis ill-advisedly made comments about certain groups of people and aggression towards those groups of people that was not necessary in the situation. So while he may have his beliefs, it is not healthy for public relations to be aggressively attacking issues instead of creating a more open, healthy environment for workers and environment for the company to interact with in the business world. Part of the process of improving the company culture will involve increasing the diversity and utilizing the diversity of different individuals and encouraging people to be different in the way to the benefit of the company. Chronis Corporation has nearly a 40% employee turnover rate, and so if they implement more practices of developing the employees that they have and encouraging the diversity, it will save costs in the long run for human resources and hiring and training employees, and it will create a healthier company culture to work in. A key part of this process will be highlighting common ground instead of personal beliefs. It has been very common for Ted Chronis to speak on personal beliefs openly, but especially in a globalized world, these issues will grow fast and could put the company in jeopardy. So this will involve saving religious practices for personal time and being very careful with how those practices are used, and implementing drug testing based on workplace safety instead of primarily personal